If chimney fires are such a big problem, why don't fireplace makers have a valve or a flue or a baffle that shuts at the base of the chimney the moment the chimney catches fire and starves the chimney fire of oxygen and puts out the fire? I was very shocked and surprised to find that secondary combustion holes cannot be closed. So even if you try to close the baffles of your primary combustion, you're still going to, in a chimney fire, get air up the secondary combustion holes, which cannot be closed. So I think chimney fires could be perhaps brought under control by having a sensor in the chimney that if it senses getting too hot, it has a baffle at the base of the chimney that closes, seals it, or starves the fire of oxygen, and the fire goes out naturally. But anyway, this video is about the subject of chimneys and the temperature in chimneys. Well, hello all. Today I am positively gloating. I'm just so chuffed and pleased. This little thing here is a thermistor. It's a tiny little variable resistor that if you hold it, your warm fingers will reduce its resistance. So I wanted to see if I could turn this little thermistor component into a digital thermometer. And the reason that I need a digital thermometer is because I often burn wet wood. And they say you shouldn't burn wet wood. It can lead to creosote forming in your chimney and then lead to a chimney fire. But I've used wet wood for years and I've never had a problem. So what I wanted this digital thermometer to do was to measure the temperature difference when I'm burning wet wood as opposed to dry wood. This time I tried it with a Pi Pico. I just told ChatGPT to take an analog value and to write a program that will record this analog value. And ChatGPT just writes the program in Python for your Pi Pico. You just copy it and paste it into your Pi Pico. Here are the leads that go to the thermistor. So there's just this component and the thermistor. I had enclosed the thermistor in a piece of leather like this. So there's the actual thermistor. So here is the thermistor under this piece of leather attached to, here's the chimney, 4 meters up from the fireplace, still inside the house. So it's coming up for 9 o'clock. Let's start our fire. Now at 5 minutes in to the burning, I'm adding some more dry firewood just to give the chimney time to warm up. Right, at 10 minutes, I'm adding, first of all, some more dry firewood. Now to show you that this is green wood, this tree has still got its leaves. This tree was cut a week and a half ago. I'm not going to put the leaves in. You can see the branches because the leaves create a lot of smoke unnecessarily. The branches are all green, but I'm going to start putting in green branches as well, and this is at 12 minutes. Now the dry wood is going to help the green wood to catch. So here at 9 o'clock, the temperature was 16.5 degrees. And this is when I lit it, and you can see it's rising to 27, 33. So by 10 past 9, it was at 59 degrees. At this time, I added some more dry wood. So the temperature eventually rose, you can see, up to 71 degrees. And that's at 9:22. So I added the green wood at 9:15, around about here. When the temperature was around about 70, I added the green wood. And it stayed at 71, then it dropped to 68, and then it stayed constant with the green wood at 65. So you could see by 10 o'clock, the temperature was still around 67. So an hour later, the temperature was just marginally lower with the green wood by 4 degrees than with the dry wood, which is totally insignificant, I think. Now, what excited me so much was once I'd attached the thermistor to the Pi Pico, I then took this kettle and I strapped this thermistor to the kettle. There you see the thermistor. So it was on this side. I strapped it to the kettle, and then I slowly changed the temperature of the water, and I had a thermometer. I could measure the temperature of the water, and at the same time I got an analog reading for the Pi Pico. So I could now correlate the analog reading on the Pi Pico with the temperature measured with a thermometer of the water. And I wrote down all these correlations on this piece of paper. And then I went to docs.google.com/spreadsheets. Anyone who knows me knows I don't like maths, but I love what somebody else or something else, some tool doing the maths for me. And Google Spreadsheets does regression analysis, which is a way of correlating your analog values with your temperatures, and it can create a graph of the two and then kick out an equation that will tell you the exact relationship between the analog values and the temperature. Oh, wow, wow, wow. And then with that equation, you can now plug it into your computer program, and you can then read the temperature of the chimney. But just have a look how I used Google Spreadsheets. It's so easy, so interesting, and this is like doing proper AI. So why was I so enthusiastic about this project? Well, here were my analog readings, which I got by strapping the thermistor to a kettle and slowly increasing the temperature of the water, and these were the degrees centigrade, and I went all the way up to 74 degrees centigrade, the kettle, from as low as 4.8 degrees centigrade. So then, if you look at docs.google.com/spreadsheets, you create a spreadsheet, and then you put in the x-axis your analog reading, and your y-axis you put the centigrade reading. Then you highlight it. Then you go to Insert, and you look for Chart. Now there's the chart. Let's just move this chart out the way. So there are the plots of this graph. You could see they form almost like a straight line. So now you are already in Chart Editor. So you go to Customize, Series, then you go to Trend Line. There you click the trend line, and it has chosen that this line is a linear graph. You could try exponential, you could try polynomial, but it seems to have selected logarithmic. But this looks like it's a linear, meaning the greater the one, the greater the analog reading, the greater the temperature. And then you go to label, here under there is label, use equation. And there an equation pops up, which is the equation that is being used to draw this particular graph. So you've actually got regression analysis that has taken the two sets of data and it's created an equation whereby y, meaning this value, is equal to 1.93 exponential minus 0.3 times x plus minus 46.6. So that particular, if you put in, say, 40,000 there by x, you should get a y value of, if you have a look, that'll be about 30 degrees centigrade. So now what Google spreadsheets, this equation has done is it's provided you with an equation that you can then pop into your computer program. So let's go to our computer program. Here is our computer program, and you'll see that exact same equation. Temperature is equal to 1.93 exponential minus 0.3 times average value. Okay, that was x, was the average value in this particular program. So here was my Python program, which I will post in the comments section of this. But there you can see the exact same equation which Google provided here. I just popped into my program, and therefore I could use it here. And so that was able to convert my analog readings, which I read off pin number 27. So analog readings were done on pin number 27. I had the real-time clock to print out the exact day of the week and the month, the year, etc. And I could print that out with the analog reading, and using this formula, it would convert it into a temperature in degrees centigrade. And then I could strap that to my chimney and measure the rise in temperature as I lit my fire. So I was so enthralled by using regression analysis, how easy it was to do it on Google Docs spreadsheets.
What was so interesting about this whole project of mine is that I am a truth seeker. I am really genuinely interested in preventing chimney fires. And I don't think my chimney is in any danger of a chimney fire, even though I regularly burn green wood. But I'm not sponsored by the Greenwood Association to tell you that. No one's paying me. I'm not like the person who works for Monsanto and says, glyphosate is yummy and it's good for you. It's like vitamins. Because he's paid to do that. He's bribed to do that. It's his job to do that. The Greenwood Association, as I say, does not pay me. I obviously don't want to get a chimney fire, but I think there are a whole lot of factors that contribute towards chimney fires that are not being considered. So, for example, I'm thinking that my chimney is not insulated, meaning it gets cool, whereas I think many chimneys are insulated. They're packed so that they can be put into a narrow place in a house. So because my chimney stays cool, I think it's got a far less chance of catching fire. And I've just been reading the secondary combustion, you cannot close off those holes. So even if a chimney fire occurs and you try to close the baffles, the secondary holes are going to allow the air in. I don't think they can be closed. So I thought that maybe if you get a chimney fire, you could close the baffles, starve the fire of oxygen. And in my case, I could just close off the entrance to my fireplace with, say, a wet towel, and that would stop the oxygen going in and stop the chimney fire. As I say, I'm a total non-expert, so don't believe a word I say. I'm just thinking aloud here. And what was so interesting was, I don't think that temperature's got anything to do, the chimney temperature's got anything to do with whether you burn wet or dry wood, because I found that wet wood's actually got almost an advantage. You can pack your fireplace, especially a big fireplace like mine. I've got a very big fireplace. And if you had to pack it with dry wood, it would the fire would become uncontrollable. So the wet wood keeps it like under control. And you're burning it so slowly that the wood is actually, that's packed on top of this. I always start with a hot, dry wood fire. And that is slowly burning the steam off the wood so that that wood can last for almost the whole day. And I found when I did this experiment that a day passed and I still had my same, I stuck in some good thick green logs, and they were now dry logs, but they were just burning quietly with no smoke, and the chimney temperature had dropped to 37, which is body temperature. So you can have a small, just coals burning, embers burning, a log that's been burning the whole day long. Even if it started a green log, it's going to end its life as a dry log. It's burnt out all the steam. So I think that there are far more things to consider with chimney fires. If you are burning even dry wood and you're burning it with poor combustion, you're getting thick black smoke, chimney, that wood smoke. Now, I don't get thick black smoke. I get a light, very little amount of light gray smoke coming out of my chimney, not that thick, unburnt, which my neighbor, who I'm sure burns dry logs, has wafting into my house very often, because I think he struggles to get his thick, dry logs to burn. And for the first 10 minutes of his fire, because the logs are so thick, we get a terrible lot of smoke from him. And as I say, I'm sure he's using bought dry firewood. So I think if you have a big fireplace like mine, you can start with a big hot fire, and then you can pile on slowly the green wood, which is going to dry out. Don't put in leaves, they just produce a whole lot of smoke. And that, by stacking my fireplace, the green logs are slowly during the day, they are drying out in a big fireplace. And when they combust completely, just like dry wood. But as I say, I'm not trying to sell you, and I'm not trying to influence anyone. You know, it's a huge thing these days to be an influencer. I mean, I don't have enough fame. I don't have enough influence I don't get paid for these videos. So I'm not trying to get money by influencing you to burn green wood. As I say, I've got nothing to gain by influencing you to burn green wood. I'm in seeking truth myself. And using regression analysis is a form of truth seeking. It's AI. I'm getting a computer to work out the relationship between two variables. You've got your independent and your dependent variable. Your independent variable was your analog reading. Your dependent variable was your temperature. The one depends on the other. And it was just so interesting. And how many things could be, with enough truth seeking. Now, scientists need to make sure they can't be bribed. If you're a scientist and you work for Monsanto, shame on you that you're prepared to say that glyphosate is safe and good, when it's clear, the evidence is clear that all the cows that are fed the grain, they get their stomachs get all red and inflamed, and oh, can you imagine? So as I say, many scientists are bought, politicians are bought, business people are bought, lawyers are all bought to tell lies. They will lie on your behalf. They know you're guilty, but they pay to pretend that you're innocent, etc. So we live in a world where we really need to think carefully. Is fame, is fortune, is happiness influencing me to be a liar, a blatant, outright liar? And this was a whole truth-seeking mission. And I'd say for my particular huge fireplace with a chimney that is not, it doesn't get hot because it's not sealed, it's not insulated. I wanted my chimney to go through the house and release heat all the way up the chimney. I have a feeling that chimneys that are well insulated, obviously the temperature is going to rise as the temperature builds up in the bottom. I think there's also other things. The flames from my conical fireplace can't really reach into the chimney because I have such a huge high fireplace. My fireplace is 1 meter and something big. It's very seldom that the flames can actually get into the chimney. And then there's a narrow circular opening of the hopper. So the flames can't go really through this opening and then get to the edges of the chimney. And I think that many chimney fires are caused by flames somehow getting all the way up the chimney. Probably the older chimneys that don't have secondary combustion, that might be a problem, where the flames go up into this insulated chimney. This chimney is going to act like a rocket stove. It's going to heat up to a tremendous point past the combustion point of the creosote, and it's all going to go up in flames, starting from where the bottom of the fireplace, where the creosote has been super heated, and then it's going to spread up the chimney. So, as I say, I'm just really interested to find the truth of the matter. And obviously, as far as happiness goes, I'm very happy. I love burning huge green logs because it means I don't have to cut them up, I don't have to chop them, I don't have to split them. I just chuck them in, leave them for the whole day to burn. And so I've got to be careful that happiness doesn't influence me. Well, obviously, cost doesn't influence me. I don't buy my firewood anyway. I can get green or dry firewood. I will choose dry firewood if it's available, but I certainly don't mind green firewood. And green has got, as I say, the advantage of just burning slowly over the whole day. And the 4-degree difference in temperature I found between burning my green wood versus burning the dry firewood, I don't think that's marginal. It's negligible, and it makes no difference because, in fact, as the day goes on and as the logs just settle down to a glow, the temperature, as I say, in the chimney can drop to 37 degrees, I found, at the end of the day. But it's totally clean burning because now it's just a log that's now basically glowing embers. And so it's clean burning at a low temperature. So I honestly think that there's so much more to this chimney fire story than just saying it's green logs. I think secondary combustion could facilitate a chimney burning, because you can't close those things off when the chimney starts going like a rocket stove with a chimney fire. I think insulating the chimney could make it get super hot, which my chimney is not insulated. I think having a small fireplace is a problem, because if you put green wood on, it's going to smolder and it's going to burn terribly because you haven't got enough space inside your small little fireplace. If you're throwing in green wood, it's going to largely affect the combustion of the fire. Whereas if I've got a huge conical fireplace, you get it burning hot and you pack it with green wood. That green wood's all going to dry out as the day goes by, and the green suppresses the fire, which is so lovely. I don't have to sit and watch it because I know the green's not going to get out of control. Whereas if I pack my fireplace with dry firewood, it will go up in smoke and really cause a problem. So green wood actually just suits my fireplace, and it acts, by the time it's dried out, it acts like slight dampening of the fire, so it doesn't get too hot, which I think is an advantage. Burns slower. And they say that, when you burn cellulose, the chemical reaction is O2 plus cellulose goes to form CO2 and water. Water's formed anyway from the burning of wood. Now, if you've got green wood, you've got to burn off that water as steam first. But in all burning, there's water. So I don't think that the water, which comes either from the cellulose or from the actual wood in the wood, is going to be a significant factor. So, as I say, I think there's a lot more to chimney burning. And I think the truth is not out there yet. I honestly think we're just taking what they say. Who cares what they say? Many people just quote what they've heard all the time, that burning green wood leads to chimney fires. I think there's too many different factors involved. Your type of fireplace, and there's a whole lot of different factors, and I don't think this has been researched enough. But I'm so pleased and chuffed with my regression analysis, I don't think temperature plays a role. I think the color of your smoke is what is most important, to make sure that you're not letting out. My smoke looks completely combusted, or just about that, not dark, a dark smoke, which would create creosote. If your chimney's spewing out that dark, thick smoke, that's going to perhaps lead to a creosote buildup, but mine doesn't do that. So I'll carry on burning my green logs.